Okay, so before I go any further, let me address the elephant in the room. Obviously, this video is a few days late. We're just gonna pretend that we're recording this and uploading it on the correct day. Forgive me. And also, I failed the 75 soft challenge, and we're gonna talk about it in today's video. So welcome to my channel. Welcome to Hype Man Chronicles. This is lesson of the week number 5, part 1, because I have a part 2 just so that I can keep myself accountable. So part 1 is basically going to be talking about what I learned from failing 75 soft, and then part 2 is going to be a Q&A, because I got a lot of questions about 75 soft and 75 hard in the DMs from people, so I want to answer those for you. So let's start with why did I fail? What happened? So basically, let me give you guys a little bit of background. First week of 75 soft was incredible. Your girl was like loving life, thriving, doing the things that I need to be doing. I was doing well. In my own opinion, I felt like I was killing it. I had a few hiccups here and there, but it honestly wasn't like a train smash. I was okay. Week 2 decided. Week 1 was a test run. Let me really come and bamboozle you. When I tell you week 2 was the worst week I've had in the last month, first of all, my period came with a vengeance. A vengeance. And then add insult to injury. No, actually, I'm grateful for when my period is here, because it means I am not with child and I'm not trying to have no children right now. So thank you, period, for being here. I just need you to be less aggressive when you arrive. You know what I'm saying? My period was trash. And then I got sick. And you know when you're sick already, and then you now have to be in pain from the periods. Guys, I was fighting for my life. And then the weather was horrible. Last week's weather, there was no sunshine. You see how outside there's like, you can see the glow in my skin. There's a pep in my step because the sun is outside. But the last week was so horrible. It was rainy, it was foggy, it was gloomy. I couldn't go outside to run or walk because it was raining, or I felt like I couldn't because it was raining so hard, or it was too cold. And then when I was in the house, I didn't feel like I could do anything because I just felt gross the whole time. And even though I did do the full 14 days, and I'm saying I failed because I stopped after the 14th day, I just realized I was burning myself out, and that was ultimately why I think I failed. And I realized I was burning out because of a few things. Thankfully, because I do record these videos every day, I can look back at the day and be like, what did I learn? What are my lessons of the day? And kind of follow through as the week goes by. And I realized I kept talking about how I felt like I was overwhelmed. I felt like I just felt overwhelmed. I looked at the way I was eating because I was on this 75 soft. I knew my eating was good. I knew my water intake was good. For the most part, I couldn't really sleep, so I knew there was definitely something to do with my sleep. But then I started just feeling like little things, like when I'm burnt out, I get the tingles, the anxiety tingles in my fingernails. I get the palpitations, I get the disassociation, and all of last week, just after I think Saturday, I sat down and I was like, what was my week like? I literally had to go back and watch the videos and be like, what was my week like last week, for me to know what actually happened, because I was so disassociated because I was in so much pain. I almost just did everything in autopilot. So at the end of the week, I was really feeling like, do I even want to carry on? And I went back to my videos, like I'm saying, and I realized that the reason why I was burning out was because I had a lack of structure. And a lack of structure in these specific things. For my diet specifically, I had a lack of structure because I had told myself, granted, I think it was good in hindsight, it was really good for the preparation for 75 hard, but I had told myself I could only do 2 meals a day, or a minimum of 2 meals a day. I could have 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever I want, but it meant that there were days where I would only have 2 meals a day, and it got to a point where it was starting to just give me too much pressure. If I had more than 2 meals, I would get stressed out. If I had less, like, it was just stressing me out too much, and I needed something that allowed me to just be me and try things and have the ability to try things and not feel guilty and have to count them as like a meal. You know what I mean? The other thing was I wasn't very clear on my workouts. As an overachiever, period, as an overachiever, I tend to want to do things that go beyond my capacity. And I think because I hadn't really challenged myself to my full capacity, my brain went to try and do my full capacity and realized I couldn't always do it every day, and then I felt guilty, and then I didn't want to do it. So I just went into a cycle, and I was like, this is why I'm burnt out. I'm stressing myself out. I have decision fatigue. I'm having a hard time with this challenge because I'm having to make so many decisions every morning before I even just get up and breathe. And then I also wanted to add reading, and because I hadn't added it originally, I just felt like I don't have to add it. So now, based on what I did and what I think went wrong, this is what I learned, and this is my lesson for the week. The first thing is I need more structure. So what I decided to do is I am doing the 75 hard now, and I added a lot more parameters for my diet. I'm doing the intermittent fasting. I'm doing the 16/8, which is 16 hours of fasting and then 8 hours of eating. It's kind of giving me a little bit more flexibility. I didn't want to have a situation where I said from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day. I actually learned in the first few days that doesn't work for me. So whenever I start eating, I give myself the 8-hour window from there. At least for the last few days, that's how I've been doing it. But averaging, I'm usually eating between 1 and 2 p.m. and I'm usually done eating by 9 or 10 p.m. That's kind of how it's been happening for the last 4 days. So I'll let you know as we progress what happens, but that's how I'm doing it at the moment. Instead, in terms of my workouts, I was really unclear on that, and because I'm doing 75 hard now, it's very specific. It's 2 45-minute workouts that they have to be separated and happen at 2 separate times with at least 2 hours in between. So for me, it's actually given me a bit more structure. I do my first 45 in the morning. As soon as I wake up, I come back home, I shower, I do my devotions, and try and sneak in like my 5 pages of reading. I go about my day, whatever I need to do. Then I set up for lunch. I do my lunch. I kind of just progressively have the day go by. And then just before I have dinner, just so that I have an appetite, I'll go out, have a run or go for a walk just to reflect on the day and do my last bit of exercise for the day at the end of the day. So that's helped me have a bit more structure, and also helped me not to feel like I'm burning myself thin or burning myself from 2 ends of a candle. I also realized I have a tendency to really undervalue myself and underestimate the capacity that I have. And because I do that to myself, I always learn the hard way that my body wants to do the hard thing. So actually, I got really bored doing 75 soft, and I think started self-sabotaging because I wasn't getting challenged enough. And after doing 75 hard for the last 4 days, let me tell you, I was playing last week, okay? I was living my best life. If I do not structure my day, actually, that's the next point. I've learned that I've had to restructure my days in order not to burn out again. I realized part of the problem with 75 soft, the way I was doing it before, was I didn't even have it structured throughout my day. Whenever I felt like I wanted to exercise, I would exercise. Whenever I felt like I wanted to read the Bible, I would read the Bible. Whenever I felt like it was a lot of feeling, and that's fine. But I'm trying to create systems using this. So I realized I need to restructure my life because that's actually not conducive to the way my brain works. I'm a very structured person. I need to know that this is happening at this time and this is happening at this time, so that I do not give myself a chance to procrastinate. So I've had to restructure everything and actually allocate times for different things. So for example, I have my morning workout and then I have my evening workout. That's very structured, that's very strict. We have a time window that we can eat and a time window that we cannot eat. And because it's 75 hard, you don't have any cheat days and you can't have your alcohol at all, with no exceptions, for the 75 days. So I've had to restructure my whole day in order to create these systems and make sure that it's something that's sustainable and doesn't continue to burn me out. Then the fourth thing is, when I do start feeling out, like burnt out, now that I do have the tools, one of the tools I have learned is a really good tool for me is to use my hobbies. Also, I have hobbies now. I didn't know I could do that in such a little bit of time. The beginning of the year, that was one of my New Year's resolutions, that I wanted to have hobbies again. And guys, I have hobbies. I paint, I draw, I write. I don't like reading. I've realized that now. Even though I said I wanted to add more reading, and this is why I'm doing 75 hard, I don't like reading. I like audiobooks, but reading is important. And as somebody who is aspiring to be in academia, I want to learn, I want to make sure I'm reading and continuing to beef up my mind and continuing to, expand my vocabulary and stuff like that. I have words that I use when I speak that I read for the first time this week, and I'm like, oh, that's how you spell them. Wow. I'm learning so much. So yeah, I've had to really learn and lean on my hobbies, lean on my coping mechanisms, lean on my de-stressing systems, lean on my self-care routines, and really utilize all the tools I've been learning and gathering from different aspects of my life. And when I need to, call a friend, call home, make sure I'm sleeping good, make sure I'm eating right, make sure I'm rested. All of those things are really important as well. So I did fail the 75 soft, but I learned so much more that's helping me in the 75 hard. And I'm hoping that in the next 75 days, I'll come back to you with one of our lessons of the week and tell you, girl, I did the 75 hard and we finished day 75 of 75. I'm putting that into the air. I'm putting that in the oxygen. Listen here, we're doing the things. So yeah, I did fail 75 soft. I felt like it was a really good decision for me to make to pivot while I was still pretty early on. Part 2 is going to be next after this. We're going to be answering a few questions that I received in the DMs. And I just learned that, I need to give myself some grace. I actually have a saying that I saw that I have it stuck on my wall, so I'm just going to read it. Just hear me out. It says, honestly, fuck it. Do what makes you feel like you. And that is the vibe I'm on right now. Like, honestly, F it. I'm gonna do what makes me feel like me, what makes me excited, what makes me feel like me. And that's not always good, and that's not always bad, and sometimes it just is what it is. But I want to feel like me. I want to do things that feel like me. I want to continue to do me in life. I don't want to do anybody else. So yeah, this has been lesson number 5, part 1. I hope I see you for part 2, which is a Q&A on 75 hard. And let me know what you're going through this week. Let me know what lesson of the week that you took. Just in general, what have you learned this week? What's something interesting you saw on the internet? I'd love to know and have a discussion, either in the comment section or you can slide in the DMs. I see you guys in the DMs. Thank you. It's nice to meet you. I'd love to have more of you in there. We're building a community, so if you want to check us out, we are at Hype Man Chronicles. I'm excited to see you there. Today has been lesson number 5 in our Hype Man Chronicles podcast. I've been your host, Miss Fuzzo. I hope you have a fabulous day. I love you. I appreciate you. Keep going fabulous. Bye.